call came 2 years after she'd left me. My ex-girlfriend, Chloe, had been in a car accident. I was her emergency contact. The label next to my name? Hubby. Miraculously, she was okay, but she had amnesia. I had no choice but to bring her back to my place, setting her up in the guest room. That night, she appeared at my door, her voice soft and confused. Leo, aren't we sleeping together? Bringing Chloe home felt like guiding a child through a strange new world. Curious, yet cautious. The moment we stepped inside, I kicked off my shoes and slipped into house slippers, then noticed her standing awkwardly by the door. What's wrong? Come on in. I don't have any shoes. I looked at the empty shoe rack and cursed myself. Of course she didn't. It wasn't just shoes. This place didn't have her clothes, her toothbrush, her towel, her favorite mug. The difference between a bachelor pad and a home a woman lived in was stark. I pulled a new pair of men's slippers from the closet and handed them to her, then led her to the living room couch. She immediately nestled against me, her body fitting into the curve of my arm like it had never left. Leo, did we have a fight? Is that why my slippers aren't here? Every muscle in my body went rigid. I ground my teeth. No fight. I could never resist her when she spoke to me in that soft, vulnerable tone. This is a new place. We just haven't finished buying everything. We'll go shopping tomorrow. Oh, okay. But the doctor said familiar places would help my memory. Why didn't we go back to our old home? Why? Because I sold the damn place the month after you walked out. But I couldn't say that now. Because you picked this one out. I lied, the words tasting like ash. You loved it. It's bigger than the old apartment. More space for you to do physical therapy at home. That part wasn't a lie. Chloe had chosen this penthouse, a sprawling downtown space close to my office. It was supposed to have been our home after the wedding. We just broke up before we ever got there. Leo, hey. I cut her off gently, patting her shoulder. You just got out of the hospital. You need to rest. It's late. We'll talk tomorrow. I settled her into the guest room, my mind a chaotic mess. Taking care of her these last couple of weeks had drained me. We'd been over for 2 years. A clean, brutal break. Her leaving had been a knife to the heart, twisted for good measure. But even the deepest wounds scar over. 2 years was a long time. I'd finally woken up from the nightmare of her betrayal. Or so I thought. The call had come during a Monday morning board meeting. An unknown number. I ignored it the first time, assuming it was a wrong number, but it rang again and then a third time. A knot of dread tightened in my stomach. Why did it take you so long to answer? A frantic voice said, You're Chloe Faye's family, right? She's in the ER at Midtown General. You need to get here now. My heart stopped. I blew through 3 red lights, and by the time I arrived, they were wheeling Chloe from the ER to the neurosurgery ward. She was in a hospital gown, her exposed skin a roadmap of raw, weeping cuts. I helped a hospital porter push her gurney down the long corridor, my mind racing. 2 years. I'd thought the love had faded, the hate had dissolved. But looking at her now, a fragile ghost of the woman I knew, I couldn't deny it. Someone you've truly loved never really leaves you. I drank in the sight of her, a greedy part of me wanting to shake her awake and scream, How dare you show up in my life again? And where the hell is the asshole who let this happen to you? Then, a colder, more rational thought. Should I leave before she wakes up? What was I even doing here? Setting myself up for more humiliation? I was torn. Worry, anger, and a grief I thought I'd buried were driving me insane. I never could have predicted what happened next. She woke up, looked at me with wide, confused eyes and whispered, Who are you? I stared back, stunned. Chloe, it's only been 2 years. Did you really forget me that completely? A nurse bustled in. Oh, honey, that's your husband. You don't recognize your own husband. We both frowned at her. Husband? I'm married. Chloe asked. Husband? When the hell did I marry her? I wondered. Before I could process it, Chloe's small hand gripped mine, her face scrunching in pain. Hubby. My head hurt so much. That one word, hubby, was a gut punch. Every carefully constructed line I'd prepared, every angry speech, evaporated. Hating myself for my weakness, I squeezed her hand back. I'd once moved heaven and earth trying to become her husband. Apparently, the after-effects still lingered. The doctor's diagnosis was grim. A blow to the head had likely caused amnesia. There was no telling when, or if, her memory would return. She wasn't fit to work. Her best bet was to recover at home, surrounded by familiar people. But, he warned, do not shock her system. I'd gone through her phone, searching for any trace of the guy she'd left me for. Nothing. Had they broken up? A grim satisfaction curled in my gut. Serves him right. Now he knows how it feels. So I brought her home. It wasn't that I couldn't contact her friends or colleagues. I knew some of them, but I couldn't bring myself to trust her with anyone else. Besides, her emergency contact was me. The label was hubby. The hospital staff all assumed we were a married couple. It wasn't that I wanted to take advantage of the situation, but in case of a medical emergency, a husband could sign off on decisions. An ex-boyfriend was less than nothing. After half a month of playing the part at her bedside, I was starting to get lost in the role. But now, back in my own space, I couldn't let myself fall any further. My thoughts were a tangled mess when the door to my bedroom creaked open. It was Chloe. She knelt by my bed, and I instinctively held my breath. She leaned in close, her fingers tracing my lips with a wistful tenderness, her own lips murmuring, "Hubby." I slapped the bedside lamp on and sat up. She jumped, startled, and stared at me. "Leo." I scrubbed a hand over my face. "Stop calling me that. You always called me Leo." Her big eyes were filled with confusion. "Leo," I said, my voice rough. "Leo Vance." If this was all a charade, I had to start finding my way out of it. She looked wounded. "But my phone says you're my husband, aren't you?" She pulled her phone from her pajama pocket, opened the photo gallery, and handed it to me. "Look, it's all pictures of you." I'd already seen it. It was true. Pictures of me from magazines, from news reports, even blurry paparazzi shots from gossip sites. Every public photo of me from the last 2 years was on her phone. And, of course, dozens of our old photos together. What the hell did it mean? I wanted to shake her, to demand an explanation. She was the one who'd walked away, insisting she didn't love me anymore, that there was someone new. I'd gone from arrogant proclamations, "You'll never find a man better than me," to pathetic pleading, "Baby, please, I'm begging you, don't go." I'd even screamed, "If you walk out that door, don't you ever come back." And still, she had left without a second glance. That last year with her, I constantly felt my confidence shattered, my feelings trampled, my love treated like a game. So what was this new act? That she was still in love with me? Did she think I was a fool? I shot up from the bed, ready to march her back to her room. But she wrapped her arms around my waist from behind, holding on tight. "Why aren't we sleeping together? Aren't we married?" she asked, her voice stubborn. Her questions frayed my last nerve. I wanted to just tell her the truth. "We broke up years ago. I'm not your husband. I'm not even your boyfriend. I have no right, no responsibility, and no obligation to take care of you." But then her small hands crept up to my chest, and she pressed a lingering kiss to my back. And just like that, I melted. The harsh words died on my tongue. "Not yet," I told myself. The doctor said not to shock her. I'd wait until she was stronger. I grabbed her wandering hands and turned to face her. I grind my teeth at night, and I snore. It would keep you up." She wrapped her arms around my neck again, her voice urgent. "I don't care. I want you to stay with me. I can't remember anything. My mind is a total blank, and I'm so scared." Was I taking advantage of her? "Leo, please. Please, hubby. Please." She looked like she was about to cry. What could I say? I tucked her into my bed, pulling her into my arms. "It's okay," I whispered. "I'm here. You're safe." She turned in my arms, facing me, her own arms wrapped around my waist. "Promise me you won't leave me." I was silent. "Promise me." I couldn't. A promise like that was meaningless. I just patted her back. "Don't overthink it. Get some sleep." She fell asleep quickly, breathing softly against my chest. I, on the other hand, stared at the ceiling all night. I hated myself for being so weak, so pathetic, and I hated her for coming back and turning my life upside down again. But a part of me couldn't bear the thought of letting her go. My mind was a tangled knot, and I couldn't shake the feeling that something was deeply wrong. I met Chloe when she was still a student at Juilliard, beautiful and impossibly pure. My company had hired her dance troupe for our annual gala. For me, it was love at first sight. I got drunk with my buddies and bragged that I'd found the one. "Careful, man," my friend Ethan said. "Sounds like it could be a transaction, not a romance." Honestly, I didn't care if it was. Being rich was part of who I was. I never thought there was anything wrong with loving money. It's always the ones who claim not to care who end up falling the hardest. My only rule was, you can love money, but you have to love me more. But she never asked me for anything. I tried to use my money to help her, pay for her master's degree, get her a lead role, arrange for private showcases. She refused every time, choosing instead to work herself to the bone to earn a spot in a prestigious dance company. For over a year, whenever we had a free moment, we were inseparable. I'd just taken over the family company and was under immense pressure, but being with her was an escape. In our own little world, all my worries disappeared. Our first real fight was when she announced she was going on a 6-month European tour. No matter how much I protested, her mind was made up. She said she had her own ambitions, that she refused to be just an accessory to my life. She wasn't wrong, but as a man with a healthy ego, her fierce independence felt like a rejection. It made me feel like she didn't fully trust or need me. Long distance was brutal. We were both incredibly busy, and the time difference made connection feel impossible. Warmth and affection struggled to cross the ocean, but indifference and distance arrived overnight. Still, the ache of missing her was stronger than any argument. I started making 48-hour round trips from New York to whatever European city she was in. I did it every 2 weeks. By the time she came back, I'd lost 15 pounds. A love that exhausting was doomed from the start. After a long, restless night, morning finally came. We had breakfast, and then I took Chloe shopping. I had to admit, her beauty was enough to satisfy any man's vanity. Even in a shapeless linen dress, she looked ethereal. For a moment, I had the ridiculous impulse to do the whole movie thing, buy her one of everything in the store. I just didn't expect to run into Victoria Davenport at the mall. She froze for a second when she saw me, then walked over with a few of her friends, a smirk on her face. "Well, Leo, enjoying yourself?" Her eyes raked over Chloe, openly dismissive. "Aren't you going to introduce us?" "No need," I said, grabbing Chloe's hand. "We were just leaving. Have fun." Getting into it with Victoria here was a bad idea. I started to steer Chloe away, but Victoria stepped closer, rising on her toes to whisper in my ear. "Some women are for fun, Leo. Don't mess up the big picture." She patted my shoulder. "Keep it on the down low. A scandal about you keeping a mistress wouldn't look good. You may not care about your reputation, but my sister does." I shoved her away. "Know your place, Victoria. My life is none of your business." "Oh, I'm just looking out for my sister. The golden boy, the perfect fiancé, turns out to be nothing but a playboy." The good mood was completely ruined. On the way home, Chloe was silent. Any woman would have been suspicious after that scene. But I didn't explain. What was there to explain? Our relationship wasn't exactly legitimate. I was an imposter husband, and I had no idea how long the act would last. The next second, her memory could come flooding back, and we'd go our separate ways. The moment we walked through the door, before I could even take off my shoes, Chloe spun around and crashed her lips against mine. It was clumsy but fierce. Desperate, I used every ounce of self-control to grip her arms and steady her. "Do you want to talk about this?" Her eyes were a storm of emotions, on the verge of tears. "Talk about what? Are you going to tell me what I want to hear? Are you jealous? What do you want to hear?" She stared into my eyes, as if searching for an answer. After a moment, she said nothing, just burrowed into my arms and held me tight. "Don't leave me." Since she'd lost her memory, I'd heard her say those words every day, and every time, they unleashed a storm of fury inside me. I wanted to shake her and scream. "Don't leave me? Do you remember what you did when I said those same words to you?" I felt a dampness on my chest. She was crying. The words caught in my throat. I swallowed them back down. That night, I made her a simple bowl of pasta with tomato sauce. She ate every bite. Neither of us were great cooks. In the old days, when we weren't ordering takeout, we survived on pasta and frozen pizzas. Later, I told her I had work to do and that she should go to bed first. I waited until midnight, figuring she'd be fast asleep and I could avoid the torture of sharing a bed and just talking. But when I pushed open the bedroom door, there she was, waiting for me. Her dark hair was a waterfall over her shoulders, and she was wearing the lace nightgown she'd bought that day, looking every bit the seductress. Well, hell, I thought, is this a perk of being the fake husband? After 2 years of celibacy, you're really going to put me through this? She was kneeling on the bed, her arms wrapping around my neck as I stood beside it. I gently pried her hands away. "Go to sleep, Chloe. Don't you want me?" I took a deep breath, trying to calm the fire she just lit. "It's not that. Your body." "I'm fine," she insisted. "I just lost my memory. My body's okay. We're married." Her gaze flickered downward for a second. "Or, is it you? Are you not able to?" That did it. No man could take that kind of insult. My rational mind screamed at me to hold back, to not take advantage of her. But she clearly had other plans. She leaned in to kiss me. I turned my head. She moved to the other side, trying again. I dodged. After several attempts, she grabbed my face with both hands, using all her strength to hold me still, and aimed for my lips again. Every drop of blood in my body rushed south. I've given you 3 chances, I growled, my voice raw. You keep pushing me. Don't regret this. She tilted her head up, her eyes defiant, and pressed her lips to mine. I never regret anything. I showed her no mercy, channeling all my pent-up resentment and long-buried desire into a long, shameless night. When we woke up, she was curled in my arms, complaining softly. I told you to be gentle. You didn't listen at all. I hired a professional physical therapist to come to the house for Chloe's recovery and a cleaning service that also handled meal prep for her lunches. My own days were a frantic race to catch up on more than 2 weeks of neglected work. When I got home that evening, the dining table was set with an elaborate dinner. It didn't look like the work of the service I used. I made all of this myself, Chloe announced, beaming with pride. I was stunned. The Chloe I knew couldn't cook to save her life. I used to tease her, calling her my adorable freeloader who only knew how to eat. So, amnesia makes you forget your ex-boyfriend but not how to julienne carrots. When did you learn to cook? The question slipped out before I could stop it. Her eyes widened. I didn't know how before. I was looking through my phone and found a bunch of recipes saved on a Pinterest board. I just followed them. It was surprisingly easy. I didn't even cut myself. A cold sneer formed on my lips. So, the other guy had some skills after all. He'd managed to turn the woman I'd spoiled, who never had to lift a finger, into a domestic goddess. My appetite vanished. I yanked off my tie and headed for the bedroom. Chloe followed me, chattering about her day as she helped me change into comfortable clothes. You don't seem happy, she said, her voice soft. Was work stressful? After dinner, I can give you a massage. Unbelievable, I thought. She learned how to give massages, too. She pulled me to the dining table. It was only then that I noticed. Every single dish was one of my favorites. I hesitated, then picked a piece of cilantro off a fish fillet and put it in my own bowl. You have amnesia, I said, my voice flat. You've forgotten you hate cilantro. She looked surprised. Really? But my notes say to always add cilantro. My hand froze mid-air. I was the one who loved cilantro. What did this mean? In the 2 years we'd been apart, had she been practicing my favorite dishes? She rested her chin on her hands, watching me. Leo, I think I must love you very, very much. The sudden declaration hit me like a physical blow. A warmth spread through my chest, and my eyes stung. I didn't know how to respond. Do you love me? She asked, her eyes full of hope. I looked at her, silent. When no answer came, she murmured to herself, disappointed. I guess not as much as I love you. How could you even measure something like that? I refused to get lost in the self-destructive cycle of our old love, especially when our entire relationship was built on a lie. Some things, can we talk about them when your memory comes back? For a while, we fell into a routine. The awkwardness of our situation surrendered to the comfort of domestic life. I'd go to work, she'd do her physical therapy at home, and sometimes, she'd have dinner waiting for me. At night, I'd show her old videos and photos of us, telling her stories about our life together, trying to jog her memory. And then, when the memories wouldn't come, we'd lose ourselves in each other, making up for lost time in every corner of the penthouse. My best friend and VP, Ethan Cole, cornered me at the office. Socrates said a man cannot step into the same river twice, he said, shaking his head. You, my friend, are getting ready to be drowned by the same woman for a second time. Are you nuts? Can't you just shut up? I'll go crazy if I do. Then go crazy. Stop lying to yourself, Leo. Her memory is going to come back eventually. Have you solved the fundamental problems that broke you up in the first place? Can you forgive her for cheating on you? Does your mother know she's back? His questions were a volley of expertly aimed darts. He was right. Nothing was solved. I was just deliberately ignoring it all. The biggest problem between us had always been her dancing. She wouldn't give it up for me, and my family would never accept a dancer as my wife. Then, as our conflicts escalated, someone else had slipped into the cracks. It wasn't that I couldn't have defied my family to marry her. The truth was, back then, I didn't want her to dance either. When we'd been together for 3 years, she was only 23, the prime of a dancer's career. As her performances increased, We saw less and less of each other. Distance is to love what wind is to fire. It extinguishes the weak and fuels the strong. During that time, I became almost pathologically possessive, wanting to chain her to my side. I remember one time, her company was doing a collaboration with a royal ballet in Southeast Asia. I was on a business trip in Singapore, so I rerouted to go see her. She performed a solo, Spirit of the Peacock. She was breathtakingly beautiful, incandescent. I found out later that a member of the royal family, a young, rich prince, was sitting in the audience and had publicly announced his intention to pursue her. I was furious. It wasn't her fault, of course, but I felt threatened, agitated, and became petty and small. As her fame grew, so did her list of admirers. They were like sharks circling, and I had to admit, some of them were even more impressive than me. I didn't know how to keep her. The more I tried to hold on, the further I seemed to push her away. Meanwhile, my own career was in a critical phase. The business world was a battlefield of deceit and endless schmoozing. I worked from dawn till dusk, and in the rare moments I had to myself, she wasn't there. We were in a long-distance relationship conducted over glitchy video calls, a frustrating arm's-length affair. It wasn't just frustrating. It was terrifying. I was constantly worried some other man would steal her away, or worse, that someone would hurt her. My fears came true when she was injured during a rehearsal. An investigation suggested it was deliberate sabotage by a rival. I panicked. The physical injury could heal, but what if something worse happened? The rival was small-time, someone I could handle, but some of her other suitors had connections to organized crime. She was in the spotlight, an easy target. I couldn't protect her from shadows. I used the opportunity to demand she quit dancing. I couldn't stand the thought of her being in a danger I couldn't control. If she loved to dance, fine. I'd open a dance studio for her. She could teach kids, perform occasionally. It would still be fulfilling. She could still live her dream. She refused. Flatly, we had a massive fight. Because of the injury, she was laid up for nearly 3 months. I was fuming, but she always had a way of disarming me. For those 3 months, at least I came home to find her there. It was a comfort. I canceled as many evening meetings as I could to be with her. Even with her leg in a cast, our passion didn't wane. The feeling of being completely enveloped in love. I thought I might never feel that way again. I was secretly planning to propose. But then, her injury healed. She'd missed out on the lead role. But to re-establish her position in the company, she accepted a part in a duet. When I went to the rehearsal studio to watch her, I nearly lost my mind. The male dancer's arms were wrapped around her waist in a sensual embrace. During a lift, one of his hands was clamped on her thigh, the other cupping her breast. I clenched my fists, telling myself it was her career, her passion. It was art. Don't be a possessive, classless pig. But when she went to change, the dancer swaggered over to me, a smug look on his face. Dude, you're a lucky man, he said with a lecherous grin. Chloe's ass is so soft, and her tits are incredible. Bet she's a wild ride. Huh. I swung. One punch, and I broke his nose. I was taken to the police station. Unsurprisingly, the incident reached my mother, Catherine. She'd never liked Chloe. In her eyes, the wife of a Vance shouldn't be a public spectacle. I had already fought the biggest war of my adult life with my family over Chloe. They had finally relented with one condition. We could marry, but Chloe had to quit dancing and become a homemaker. It was their final offer. So after the fight, my mother was calm, as if she'd been expecting it. Now you should understand just how unsuitable you two are. Unsuitable. Everyone told me we were unsuitable. But love is love. You don't love someone because they're suitable. You love them, and so you try to become suitable. Chloe lost the duet. I lost the perfect moment to propose. My position was firm. I told her I absolutely could not tolerate her being so intimate with other men. She said I didn't understand art, that I was suffocating her freedom, so began a cycle of cold wars and fragile reconciliations, fighting over trivial things, over and over again. It was exhausting. I loved her so much. I couldn't let her go. She said she loved me too, but that my love was suffocating her. The day she left, suitcase in hand, she told me, Leo, I don't love you anymore. I found someone else. The rage that washed over me was biblical. I wanted to destroy her, to grind her bones to dust. But after the anger came the grief. An overwhelming, suffocating blanket of loss. I picked up my phone countless times, wanting to call and scream. Why? Why? I was so good to you. But my rational mind always wrestled my emotions back from the brink. through countless drunken nights and lonely mornings. I held on by sheer force of will, and eventually, the pain subsided into a dull, permanent ache. Forgetting was impossible. I just buried it in the deepest part of my heart, where it wouldn't surface unless deliberately disturbed. Over the past 2 years, I'd seen her on TV occasionally. She was brilliant. I even accidentally went to see one of her performances live with a woman my mother had set me up with. I left before the curtain call. I couldn't bear the thought of her seeing me, of her seeing what a pathetic mess I still was, unable to let go. Until now, I don't know if this is a second chance from God or a second punishment. In the time since her accident, she's become completely dependent on me, and I've asked myself more than once, do I still love her? I have no answer, but she can still command my heart with a single glance. Get back together? Forgetting for a moment that she has amnesia and might not want to when her memory returns. Do I want to? I have no confidence we wouldn't just repeat the same tragedy. So I've been playing the ostrich, waiting for time to give me an answer, until a picture of us went viral. The headline was explosive. Vance Ayers' secret rendezvous. Is the Davenport-Vance merger off? The photo was from our shopping trip. Chloe, in her long dress, leaning against me. It was blurry, but anyone who knew me would recognize me. They didn't identify her. The photographer was probably not familiar with the world of classical dance. This clearly wasn't the work of professional paparazzi. Ethan burst into my office with the PR manager, his face a mask of panic. He saw my screen and his jaw dropped. You already know? Yeah, it's on every platform. Hard to miss. What were you thinking, Leo? You knew this was a sensitive time, and you're parading a woman around town? Don't say I didn't warn you. You're in deep trouble now. He turned to the PR manager. I bet his mother's call comes within the half hour. The PR manager, a seasoned veteran, just smiled. I'll bet 5 minutes. As if on cue, my phone rang. I grinned at the PR manager. Too bad you didn't name a price. It was, of course, my mother. I held the phone half a foot from my ear and let her tirade wash over me. After about 10 minutes, I brought it back. Are you done? My turn. My voice was ice. First, I don't need a marriage alliance to land the North Mountain project, so you can stop trying to sell off your son. Second, I don't like people interfering in my private life. That includes you. And third, don't ever try to scheme against me again. You won't like the consequences. I hung up, grabbed my suit jacket, and headed for the door. I'm leaving. Ethan yelped after me. What about the trending topic? Do we kill it or let it ride? Whatever. I didn't need to guess who was behind the photo and the paid promotion. Victoria Davenport. I knew this was coming the moment we ran into her. The battle between the two Davenport sisters for control of their family's empire was old news in our circle. Their family had built a legacy over 2 generations, but the third had no sons. A daughter could take over, but she needed a powerful ally. A marriage alliance was the easiest way. To my great fortune, both sisters had made their interest in me clear. I wanted control of Clara Davenport's Omni Media, so I chose to partner with her. The news that we were engaged spread like wildfire through the business world. It wasn't real, of course, just a way to boost shareholder confidence and make our moves more easily. For the past 2 years, I'd thrown myself into the cutthroat world of family dynasties and corporate warfare, drowning myself in strategy and ambition until I had no time to breathe. It was dull, but it was a potent distraction from the pain of loving and losing Chloe, of being betrayed. My career became the cure for my broken heart. In the process, I built my own power base, one that freed me from being controlled by anyone, including my mother. I floored the accelerator. All I wanted was to get home. Chloe was always on her phone. I couldn't predict how she would react if she saw the news. During the 30-minute drive, I took 2 calls. The first was from Clara Davenport, informing me that some of the executives at both our companies were displeased. To minimize the fallout, she asked me to attend her family's upcoming gathering. I refused without hesitation. Before, playing along with her charade was fine. It was a win-win. But with Chloe back in my life, I wasn't willing to play anymore. Even though our situation was a mess, I felt a glimmer of hope, and I didn't want any more complications. I promised to make it up to her and to accelerate our joint ventures. She was a pragmatic woman. I'm a little jealous of your girlfriend, you know? She said, her voice tinged with a faint sadness. What could I say? A person's heart is only so big. Once it's full, there's no room for anyone else. The second call was unexpected. It was from Chloe's best friend, Anna. As Chloe's de facto family, we'd had dinner a few times. So she had my private number. Leo Vance, Chloe is with you, isn't she? Give me your address right now. I'm coming to get her. I frowned. She has amnesia. She only recognizes me. She won't go with you even if you come. I know. I've called her a dozen times. If you hadn't finally answered, I would have reported her as a missing person. Then you know I'm not letting her go. Not unless her memory fully returns and she chooses to leave on her own. Leo, stop torturing her. Hasn't she done enough for you over the years? Done enough for me? The call left me seething. When I got home, Chloe was gone. This had never happened since the accident. She was always here, waiting for me. Even on nights when I had to work late, she'd stubbornly wait up. I told her countless times to eat, to go to sleep, not to wait. She always refused. What's the point of being alone? I can only relax when you're home, she'd say. Now I was the one who couldn't relax. I stared at the empty apartment, and my heart clenched. What does this mean? Did she see the news? Does she doubt our relationship now? Is that why she left? Doubt would be normal. The online article was thousands of words long, filled with details about the alleged merger, background on me and Clara, our company's strategic plans, and even stock predictions. Unless she was completely offline, she would at least question why the media was reporting that I was single and engaged to someone else. Then a worse thought hit me. What if her memory came back? Is that why she left without a word? The suffocating feeling of being abandoned washed over me again. No matter what, this time, I needed an answer. I was pacing, dialing Ethan's number. I need you to find someone for me. Who? Boss. Chloe. She's gone. She's gone? Call the cops. What can I do? Just do it. Use every resource you have. Find her. My mind raced through the possibilities. Where would she go? A mall? A coffee shop? A park? The dance studio? My heart pounded against my ribs. I was too impatient to wait for the elevator. I was about to take the stairs, all 32 flights, when the elevator dinged. The doors opened, and there she was, Chloe. Our eyes met. The knot in my chest instantly loosened. I strode forward and grabbed her wrist. Where have you been? Answer me. Where were you? My voice was harsh, and she looked terrified. I didn't wait for an answer, just swept her up into my arms and carried her back inside. She let out a small gasp, her eyes wide. I dropped her onto the sofa and finally got a good look at her. Her eyes were red and swollen. She'd been crying. I yanked my tie loose, forcing myself to calm down. Where did you go? She looked down. I went to buy something. I finally noticed the small paper bag in her hand. The logo was familiar, Trojan. She wrung her hands, embarrassed. We ran out. Last night wasn't safe. Unbelievable. She'd really come a long way. In the past, I was always the one in charge of supplies. When we ran out, the activities ceased. Now, which man had trained her to be so proactive? I snatched the bag and looked inside. She'd even gotten the right kind. My preferred size and type. I looked at her, standing there with her head bowed. For a second, I was so turned on I almost dragged her back to the bedroom to punish her properly. But my rational mind was still intact. I had to clear the air. Did you see your phone today? If you have questions, you can ask me directly. She was silent for a long moment. I was getting impatient. Talk to me. My shout made her flinch. She looked up at me, her eyes raw, a single tear escaping and rolling down her cheek. She wiped it away angrily. I deflated, my anger vanishing. Why are you crying? Just talk to me. I sighed, feeling helpless. I'm sorry. I came home, you were gone, and I panicked. But if you have doubts about me, I need you to ask me. Don't just keep it inside and guess. She took a deep breath. I saw the news. I don't understand. If you're my husband, why would you be in a marriage alliance with someone else? That means you're marrying her, right? I hadn't expected her to be so direct. A wave of frustration washed over me. But we were here now. I couldn't keep lying to her. Because we're not married, I said slowly. I'm not your husband. She looked at me, her face a mask of disbelief. Then what are we? Why am I your emergency contact? We used to be boyfriend and girlfriend. We were very in love. You probably set me as your contact back then and just never changed it. Used to be? Then what? What are we now? After we broke up, we were strangers. But now you're back. So what we are now? That's up to you. Chloe shut down. She told me, her voice trembling, that she needed time to think. I let her have the master bedroom and moved into the guest room myself. Lying in the cold, Empty bed. I felt a familiar desolation. The unopened box of condoms in the drawer was now a monument to my foolishness. With her back in my life, I'd been sleeping soundly, exhausted from our nights together. Now, the insomnia she had cured came roaring back. Maybe asking her to define our relationship was too much. After all, her memory was gone. For her, the past was a blank slate. But not for me. For me, her words were still branded on my soul. I heard a faint noise from the other room and my ears perked up. I waited. Silence. A pang of disappointment hit me. She wasn't coming over tonight. I debated going to her, then decided against it. We had to face this sooner or later. In the morning, Chloe emerged with dark circles under her eyes that matched my own. "We need to talk," she said. I was already dressed in my suit. I glanced at my watch. I had an early meeting. "If you don't mind, you could come to the office with me?" In the car, I broke the silence. "The drive is 30 minutes. We can talk. Is it appropriate for me to go, considering you have a fiancé?" I stopped at a red light and turned to look at her. "You saw the news. Why didn't you ask me about it right away?" She took a deep breath. "I thought of a lot of possibilities. I thought maybe we had a secret marriage for business reasons, and you had to maintain a single persona in public. You know, like in the movies. I just didn't expect the reality to be more dramatic than a soap opera." She was surprisingly good at rationalizing. "There's no fiancé. It's just a rumor. What can I say? I'm a popular guy. Powerful CEO, you know the type. They throw themselves at you. It's just like in the movies." She twisted her hands in her lap, clearly still upset. "How long were we apart?" "A little over 2 years. Her face was a mask of shock. Then confusion. "That long? Then, why did we break up?" My heart seized. My knuckles turned white on the steering wheel. "Because you didn't want me anymore?" I said, my voice cold. "You fell for someone else." I set Chloe up in my office and went to my meeting with the sales department. My head was pounding by the time I returned to find Ethan chatting with her. As he left, he shot me a wink. "Couldn't hold it in, man. Finally got that off my chest." I rubbed my temples, a headache blooming. "What did Ethan say to you? Do you remember him at all?" Chloe shook her head, looking lost. "No, but he said we used to be good friends. We all used to hang out," I said. "He was our professional third wheel. Don't pay any attention to him. He's just biased." "He yelled at me," she said quietly. "But I'm not mad." It felt strangely comforting to hear about our relationship from someone else. "He said you did a lot for me, but that I betrayed you. I can't believe I was that horrible." She looked down, thinking, "I'm sorry. Thank you for everything you've done recently. But you have no obligation to take care of me. So, I think I should move out." I clenched my fists, staring at her. "Is that your answer? You're just going to move out and never contact me again? Then what was all of this? What was I to you for the last month?" Last night, I'd sworn to myself I would be gentle. She had amnesia. Blaming her was unfair, but I couldn't control myself. The thought of her leaving was worse than a knife in my gut. "But you didn't correct me," she shot back, her voice trembling. "You knew I had it all wrong. Why didn't you tell me sooner?" Her question silenced me. She was right. In the end, it was my own selfishness. I had an agenda. "Then why didn't you change your emergency contact?" I retorted. "Why was the label hubby?" She shook her head, looking helpless. "I don't know. I don't remember." She buried her face in her knees, her voice a pained whisper. "I don't remember anything." Watching her, I felt my heart break. I knew it wasn't her fault, but I wanted to unleash all my pent-up misery on her. "Weren't you the one who came back to me? Did you think I enjoyed being your fake husband? The constant anxiety, the sleepless nights, you think that was easy for me? You use me and then just walk away. You heartless woman. That's how it is with people. If you never have something, you don't miss it. But to get it back only to lose it again? The pain multiplies exponentially." After our argument, Chloe didn't leave, but the aftermath of sleeping in separate rooms was palpable. I was either tossing and turning all night or trapped in restless, frustrating dreams. Chloe wasn't doing much better. Our relationship was in a state of limbo, and we couldn't find a comfortable way to exist together. I started to regret everything. If only that news story had never come out. Maybe, with enough time, she would have become so dependent on me she couldn't leave. Fueled by resentment, I launched a series of attacks on Victoria Davenport, the source of the story. I would make her understand the price of crossing me. The corporate world is a seesaw. When one side falls, the other rises. My collaboration with her sister, Clara, became incredibly profitable. Why are you so determined to get Omni Media? Clara asked me one evening, swirling a glass of red wine. I didn't bother to answer. Is it because of a woman? Because of Chloe? I frowned. In our world, investigating each other's private lives was a cardinal sin. Don't get me wrong, she said quickly. I have no ulterior motives. It's just, I've seen her before. She's a dancer. She's somewhat famous. It's not surprising you've seen her. She shook her head. No, I saw her at a hospital. You know, my father had cancer. When he was getting treatment in the States, I saw her there. She stood out because we were both from back home. And she's so beautiful. I took special notice. The United States? Cancer. My heart began to pound. I realized there was a lot about Chloe's missing 2 years that I didn't know. Before I could unravel that mystery, an unexpected visitor showed up at my office. He told the receptionist he was a friend of Chloe's. I had no choice but to see him. He was a young, handsome guy, impeccably dressed with a roguish, devil-may-care air about him. He plopped down on my sofa as if he owned the place. I frowned, waiting to see what his game was. When he introduced himself as Julian Reed, Chloe's boyfriend, my eyes narrowed. He was here to take her from me. And why should I hand her over to you? Because I'm more qualified to take care of her than you are. You're an engaged man. Are you planning on making Chloe your mistress? You said it yourself, fiancé. It's just a title. A rumored one at that. He frowned at me. Are you always this reckless, Mr. Vance? Julian continued, his tone sharp. Keeping your ex-girlfriend of 2 years by your side. Are you trying to relive the good old days? Or are you looking for revenge? I'd had enough. I pressed the intercom button on my desk and told security to escort him out. My own breathing was ragged, but he remained infuriatingly calm, standing up to straighten his suit. No need to trouble them, he said with a smirk. Chloe will leave with me. Just you wait and see. And with that, he was gone, leaving me so agitated I couldn't stay in the office a second longer. A cold dread crept into my heart. Her amnesia was a ticking time bomb. The next second, her memory could return, and everything would reset. What would Chloe do? Leave without a word? Go back to that man's arms and tell me this whole thing was a misunderstanding? That she loved someone else? Damn it all to hell. I'd barely taken a few steps out of my office when my mother blocked my path. When it rains, it pours. You're not answering my calls, Catherine snapped. Who are you throwing a tantrum at now? That woman in the photos is Chloe. Isn't it? You're involved with her again. I told you. I don't like you meddling in my private life. If you weren't my son, do you think I'd care? All these years, and you haven't learned a thing. The moment you see that woman, you lose your mind. I met her glare without flinching. Our relationship had been strained for years. I am tolerating this because you are my mother. So I suggest you stop talking now and leave us both with some dignity. You're living with her? Fine. I'd like to see what game she's playing this time. She turned to leave. I grabbed her arm, my grip tight. I knew all too well the ruthless tactics of the elite. I had to shut down any ideas she might be entertaining. Don't overstep, I warned, my voice low and dangerous. If you dare touch her, don't blame me for forgetting you're my mother. Catherine laughed. A short, contemptuous sound. Always protecting her. You're like some tragic hero from a romance novel. A blind one. Did you know, back then, it only took me $200,000 to make her leave you? Son, your great love was only worth 200 grand. Are you still so deluded? You're pathetic. I should have known. Her promise back then, that the family would accept Chloe if she gave up dancing. It was just a lie to avoid a direct confrontation. While I was blaming Chloe for not compromising for me, my mother had been playing her own game, offering her money to leave me, threatening her career, her safety. It was standard practice in our world, despicable but effective. But Chloe leaving me for $200,000? I would never believe that. It was like owning the entire ocean and leaving it for a single glass of water. If she wanted money, I would have given her far more than that. There had to be another reason. The United States. Cancer. $200,000. On the way home, I called a friend at a private investigation firm. I had to understand how all these pieces fit together. When I walked in, Chloe was on the phone. The calls had been non-stop. When she was in a good mood, she'd answer, reciting the same script. I'm sorry, I have amnesia. I don't know who you are. Thanks for your concern. I'm doing well. She was tired of repeating it, so most of the time she just ignored the calls. But this call was different. It's too big of an opportunity to give up. It doesn't matter if you can't remember. The muscle memory is still there. You have time to practice. You said this was your lifelong goal. I'm sending you the video. Watch it and start training. I'll talk to Leo Vance. What does he think he's doing? This has nothing to do with him. He can't interfere. The voice was so loud I could hear it from the entryway. It had to be her friend. Anna? I watched Chloe silently. She hung up, and music started playing from her phone. After watching for a moment, she stood up. She rose onto her toes, stretched her arms, and then kicked one leg high as she spun in a graceful circle. Her body was fluid, ethereal. Even in sweatpants, she was magnificent. A confident smile played on her lips, a reminder of the dazzling star who had captivated audiences, who had captivated me. The woman who had worked so hard for her dream, a dream I had arrogantly demanded she abandon. I had felt so wronged, asking her if dancing was more important than me, even forcing her to choose between her passion and our love. I suddenly felt ridiculous. If someone had tried to trap me with love, telling me it was for my own good, for my protection, I would have suffocated too. As she spun, her eyes met mine. Her face lit up, and she ran toward me like a joyful sparrow, only to stop awkwardly a few feet away, her smile vanishing. She remembered the strange, undefined space we now occupied, a space where joyful embraces were forbidden. But in that moment, all I wanted to do was hold her. I closed the distance between us and pulled her into a tight hug, burying my face in her hair. I just wanted to hold her. No words needed. She stiffened for a second. Then her small hand came up to gently pat my back. What's wrong? I just realized what a complete asshole I've been. She didn't know what to do, trying to pull back to look at me. I held her tighter. Don't move. Just let me hold you. I would have held her forever if my stomach hadn't growled, shattering the fragile peace. Chloe giggled against my chest. Maybe eat something first, then more hugging. I sighed. I'm not done hugging you. I want to hold you forever. Well, you still have to eat and use the bathroom. I want to hold you legally, legitimately, forever. I loosened my arms, and she tilted her head up to look at me. What does that mean? I looked deep into her eyes, a sudden, absolute certainty solidifying in my heart. I want to put my brand on you, to tell the whole world that you're mine. Her eyes widened. Like this? I murmured, leaning down and planting a firm, possessive kiss on her neck, leaving a dark mark. She looked flustered. Leo, we're not married anymore. We can be. Let's get married, Chloe. Will you marry me? She looked utterly shocked. Married? But I lifted her up and sat her on the console table by the door, trapping her between my arms. She had nowhere to run. It's been over a month. We've been together every day. I'm your emergency contact. You cook my favorite foods. Your phone is filled with pictures of me. And you've seduced me into your bed more times than I can count. So, I said, my voice serious, I'm asking you, do you still love me? A deep blush spread across her face, and she looked away. But, you said that back then. I held her gaze. Whatever happened back then, I'll find out the truth. And if I can't, it doesn't matter. What matters to me is now. And the future. This was what I had figured out on the drive home. Today it was Julian Reed. Tomorrow, another suitor might show up at my door. Instead of waiting to fight off the competition, I was going on the offensive. What was the point of agonizing over who was right or wrong in the past? So what if a fly landed on a burger I ate 2 years ago? Am I supposed to throw up the meal I'm eating today? So she had amnesia. The woman herself was right here, in my arms. We could create new memories together. As for the truths that were threatening to surface, they would come out eventually. In the end, after all the twists and turns, after seeing countless women over the past 2 years, she was still the only one who could make my heart race. So, I was going to have her. I was going to be her husband. For real this time. It was like a weight had been lifted. The fog in my mind cleared instantly. She was still hesitant. Can we wait until my memory comes back? What if it never does? Are we going to live separately for the rest of our lives? I can't handle that. But, I don't even know where my birth certificate is. Not a problem. Leave it to me. But, I placed a finger over her heart. Ask your heart, does it want to be with me? Forever. That night, we curled up on the sofa and talked for hours. I told her about my work, my friends, my hobbies. She showed me the video Anna had sent her. A solo dance she had been preparing for a major competition. It's beautiful. Isn't it? She said, her eyes shining. This dance is different from the others you showed me. I love it. It is beautiful. I agreed. If you love it, you should practice. You can do anything you want. Really? Didn't you say we used to fight about my dancing all the time? That was because I was insecure. Because you're too beautiful when you dance, and I couldn't handle it. That was it, wasn't it? The root of it all was my own insecurity. I hadn't understood it then, but now I knew. Loving someone doesn't mean caging them. It means supporting their dreams, celebrating their achievements, and understanding their choices. That's the only way a relationship can be healthy and last. That night, I moved back into the master bedroom. The supplies in the nightstand drawer finally got some use. For the first time in a long time, my heart felt completely at peace. I just didn't expect Julian Reed to show up at our door so quickly. Chloe opened it, her expression blank. Can I help you? Julian frowned. Chloe, what's wrong with you? I quickly moved to stand in front of her. She has amnesia. Don't upset her. Amnesia? I knew it. He snarled. So you knew she had amnesia and you deliberately kept her here. You're despicable. He tried to reach for her. I blocked his hand, trying to maintain some semblance of civility. Chloe has accepted my proposal. We're engaged. He pointed a finger at my face. You're taking advantage of her. You're a manipulative coward. I reached for the phone to call security. Who the hell were they letting into the building? He ignored me, shoved me aside, and grabbed Chloe's wrist. Come with me. At my own front door, right under my nose, he was trying to steal my woman? I'd had it with this guy. I lunged forward and threw a punch. He stumbled back. I tried to pull Chloe inside and slam the door, but he blocked it with his leg, shoved the door open, and charged at me. In an instant, 2 6-foot-plus men were wrestling on the floor of my foyer. I hadn't been in a real fight in years, but right now, I wanted nothing more than to beat him senseless. He seemed to hate me just as much, fighting back with equal ferocity. Fists flew, landing on faces and bodies. I didn't feel the pain, only the surge of adrenaline as 2 alpha males fought for dominance. What goddamn right do you have to be with her? He spat. She's the one who came back to me. Bullshit. You two broke up years ago. We got back together. We're both men. Don't think I can't see what you're after. You think she likes you? Dream on. Oh yeah? Why don't you ask her who's been by her side these last 2 years? We traded verbal blows as we fought, but the mention of the past 2 years sent my rage into overdrive. I twisted, pinning him beneath me. And do you know whose bed she's been sleeping in? I growled, my voice laced with venom. Julian's eyes widened in fury. What? Can't stand to hear about your precious Chloe's sex life. You want details? I can give you details. You son of a bitch. You're the son of a bitch. Stop it. A pained cry cut through the air. Julian and I both froze. In the heat of the fight, I'd barely noticed Chloe frantically trying to pull us apart. Now, she was crumpled on the floor, clutching her head, sobbing. I was still stunned, but Julian shoved me off and scrambled to her side. Chloe! Chloe! Her face was streaked with tears, and she was gasping for air. Julian expertly rubbed her back. Don't cry. Don't hyperventilate. Slow your breathing, Chloe. Match my breathing. Then he scooped her up into his arms. I moved to take her from him. Are you an idiot? He yelled. Go start the car. We rushed Chloe to the nearest hospital. She was clutching her chest, taking huge, gulping breaths, clearly in agony. Julian calmly relayed her condition to the ER doctor. My entire focus was on Chloe. His words were just background noise. I held her hand, my own hands cold and clammy, feeling utterly useless. The helplessness was suffocating. After a flurry of activity, Chloe was given a shot and fell asleep. Julian turned to me, a cold sneer on his face. Still here? This might make the news again. Don't you worry about me. You're the one who should get lost. I'm taking care of my fiancé. It's my right. Fiancé? You think your family will approve? And how much do you really know about Chloe? Her relying on you now is just a classic case of misattribution of arousal, the suspension bridge effect. Are you really going to keep lying to yourself? He'd hit a nerve. I glared at him, my fists clenching. I'd advise you to calm down, he said coolly. This is a hospital. I don't care if we make a scene, but a public brawl could affect Vance Holdings' stock price. He was infuriating. I gritted my teeth, but then I saw the cuts on his face, the 2 missing buttons on his shirt. He looked as battered as I felt. The fight had vented some of my rage. The ER was crowded. People were staring, some even secretly filming us, no doubt imagining their own dramatic narrative. Logically, I knew I should leave, but let him have her? Not a chance. I shoved Julian aside, pulled out Chloe's phone, and showed him my contact info. As expected, when he saw the word hubby, his eyes narrowed and his jaw tightened. So, when she had her accident, the hospital called me. And soon, I'll have the official title. The one who isn't loved is the third wheel here. Now, get lost. He shook his head, a strange, knowing look on his face. You're still so arrogant. You know me? You don't know a damn thing. I have no interest in knowing you. If it wasn't for Chloe, I'd be happy to never see you again in my life. I ignored him and made a call to have Chloe transferred to a high-end private hospital owned by Vance Holdings. To my shock, Julian insisted on coming with us. I have to go, he said firmly. I'm her attending physician. I know her entire medical history. Attending physician? What's wrong with her? What does she need you for? Oh, the great Leo Vance doesn't know everything? If you want to know, why don't you find out for yourself? Or have you never had any patience for Chloe, only wanting to cage her, crush her talent, and smother her with your so-called love? Oh, and let's not forget your pathetic jealousy. He knew about our past. I realized Julian's relationship with Chloe was far more complex than I'd imagined. But my gut told me they weren't lovers. He was clearly in love with her. But there wasn't a single picture of him in her photo gallery. They weren't a couple. So what was wrong with Chloe? When we were together, she was perfectly healthy. The hospital had done a full workup after the accident. Aside from her injuries, there were no underlying conditions. After settling Chloe into a private suite at our hospital, I finally felt a sense of relief. An hour later, she woke up. I was on the phone with my private investigator at the time. Mr. Vance, I have some preliminary information on what you asked for. Dr. Julian Reed is a gastrointestinal oncologist from MD Anderson Cancer Center. He returned to the country 5 days ago. Chloe's memory was back. I hung up and walked into the room. Julian was holding her hand. The look in Chloe's eyes as she gazed at him was urgent and full of trust. You didn't tell him, did you? She asked, her voice hoarse. Julian sighed deeply. Of course not. It's your private information. Good. Are you planning on hiding it from him forever? It seems like you two have been getting along. Chloe curled into a ball, hiding her face. It's all my fault. Why did I have to lose my memory? It's all my fault. I couldn't listen anymore. I threw the door open. Hiding what from me? What the hell have you been hiding from me? I never thought the day would come when I could speak to Julian Reed calmly. I was a nervous wreck, but he was infuriatingly composed, sipping his coffee. Spit it out. What is wrong with Chloe? He rolled his eyes. Nothing's wrong with her. She's perfectly healthy. Then why is she involved with an oncologist? Because she has up to an 80% chance of developing cancer. Before our conversation, I had gone to Chloe. I told her that no matter what, I wasn't letting her go this time, and as her fiancé, I had a right to know her secrets. She had nodded at Julian, giving him permission, and that's what led to this conversation. I thought I would be terrified, but a strange calm washed over me. It was as if I knew, with absolute certainty, that nothing could tear us apart. Have you ever heard of Lynch syndrome? Julian began. It's a hereditary genetic disorder. Female carriers have up to an 80% lifetime risk of colorectal cancer and a 60% risk of endometrial cancer. The worst part is, it's an autosomal dominant inherited condition. Even if her partner is completely healthy, her children still have a 50% chance of inheriting it. He continued, and patients with Lynch syndrome tend to develop cancer much earlier than the general population. Before precise genetic testing, diagnosis was based on the Amsterdam criteria. One of the key indicators is an age of onset under 40. My brows furrowed. I'd never heard of such a cruel disease. A ticking time bomb inside a perfectly healthy person. Chloe's mother died of colon cancer. After her death, her father remarried, and Chloe went to live with her aunt. Her aunt was a beautiful, elegant woman who never married. She had adored me and had blessed our relationship. During the half year when we were constantly fighting, Chloe had mentioned her aunt was sick. And what did I do? Oh right, I gave her a credit card and told her to use it for whatever she needed. I was so consumed by power struggles at work and so frustrated by Chloe's refusal to compromise that when her aunt was gravely ill, when she was at her most vulnerable, I, her boyfriend, had been completely absent. Chloe's aunt had both colon and endometrial cancer, Julian explained. When Chloe brought her to MD Anderson, I was the oncologist who handled her case. They had already done genetic testing back home. Unfortunately, even in America, even at the best cancer center in the world, there's no cure for Lynch. All we can do is monitor closely and operate immediately if cancer develops. My heart hammered against my ribs. The pieces of the puzzle clicked into place, forming a brutally clear picture. During that period of endless fighting, because of her aunt's illness, Chloe discovered she had Lynch syndrome, and so she decided to leave me. She took the $200,000 from my mother and broke up with me. She took her aunt to America for treatment, and in America, she met Julian Reed. So, there was never another man. I hadn't lost her to a rival. I had lost her to myself. I don't remember how I walked back to her room. Chloe must have cried for hours. Her pillow was soaked and her eyelids were swollen. I gently stroked her face, and she jolted awake like a startled deer. Ignoring her protests, I climbed onto the narrow hospital bed with her. It was a tight squeeze. I had to hold her close to keep from falling off. "I know everything," I whispered, my voice thick with emotion. "And I'm not going to forgive you." I felt her body tense in my arms. "Not unless you make it up to me," I continued. "By spending the rest of your life with me. And you can't forgive me, either. You have to give me the chance to make it up to you. Okay?" She nodded against my chest. "If it weren't for the car accident and the amnesia, were you planning on never seeing me again?" I didn't wait for her answer. "You fool. You underestimated me, and now, you're going to let me punish you for it." Marrying Chloe was, of course, met with resistance. The first obstacle was my mother, but no matter how much Catherine raged, I remained unmoved. "I'm informing you, not asking for your permission," I told her coolly. "Try whatever tricks you want. I'll just retaliate twice as hard." The opinions of other family members or board members mattered even less. Businessmen care about one thing: profit. I dangled a few lucrative opportunities, and they were too busy fighting over the scraps to meddle in my affairs. Clara Davenport was a little wistful. I wasn't blind to her feelings for me, but all I could offer in return was a smooth business partnership and a rising stock price. To her credit, she was gracious. I successfully acquired Omni Media, which was my gift to Chloe. The most annoying obstacle, however, was Julian Reed. "I don't approve," he announced, setting down his fork and knife with that infuriatingly calm demeanor of his. Just looking at him made me want to breathe fire. Chloe squeezed my hand under the table. Terrified, I was about to flip it. "What standing do you have to disapprove?" I sneered. "We're just informing you, so you don't embarrass yourself by trying to be a third wheel. That's not for you to decide." He wiped his mouth with his napkin and looked at Chloe. "Are you really going to marry this childish buffoon?" "You're the childish one," I retorted. Julian quickly steadied his wine glass. "See? Does that look like a mature adult to you? I say you should just come back to the States with me." I was about to explode when Chloe's gentle voice cut in. "Honey." The fire instantly died out. Chloe raised her glass to Julian. "Thank you, Julian. You are a very, very important friend to me. I will never forget how much you helped me when I was at my lowest. I hope you find happiness. Come back and visit often." Ha! Fireworks went off in my head. Julian just pouted. "I don't want a friendship card." On the way home, I was giddy. I never liked that guy. The first time we met, he told me he was your boyfriend. Such a liar. He was my boyfriend. For a while, I slammed on the brakes, staring at her in disbelief. I expected her to give me a playful wink and say she was kidding, but her expression was sad. When my aunt was really sick, she kept asking if you and I had fought. I didn't want her to worry, so I asked Julian to help me. I told her he was my new boyfriend. That's why I said he helped me so much, not just as a doctor but as a friend. He was with me when I said goodbye to her. The fireworks in my heart fizzled out, leaving behind a cold, desolate silence. I was drowning in shame. I thought I had cleared all the obstacles, but I could never make up for those 2 lost years. But at least I had the future. From now on, Julian Reed, I won't give you a single opening. After acquiring Omni Media, the first thing I did was sponsor a televised dance competition. We invited celebrities with dance backgrounds and students from professional academies to participate, creating a high-profile platform for aspiring artists. Chloe, of course, was a judge. I ignored her protests. "What do you mean you're not qualified? You've won the most prestigious awards in the country, you have thousands of hours of stage experience, and you've toured the world. You're perfect for the role." "This is blatant nepotism," she accused. "So what if it is? I want to see you shine." "I thought you were the insecure type?" she teased. I wrapped my arms around her from behind, swaying gently. That's why I'm your boss now. I can keep you under my watch, put my brand on you, and see who dares to even look at you. Haha. What a schemer. Actually, I admitted, this was my plan 2 years ago. I just never got the chance to pull it off before we broke up. I never really wanted you to quit dancing. I thought, once I acquired the company, I could help you build a safe and successful career path. It would have given me peace of mind. I added, and that competition Anna told you about. As long as it doesn't interfere with the wedding, you have my full support. Chloe was touched. She turned in my arms and whispered in my ear, "Thank you, hubby." The world of classical dance was fiercely competitive, and the show was a massive hit. The production team brought on a few top-tier celebrities who started as dancers, and the show's popularity skyrocketed. Even people who didn't care about the art form loved watching the beautiful contestants. As a judge, Chloe's credentials, displayed on screen, were dazzling. Her commentary was professional and insightful, and she would occasionally demonstrate a move herself. The live comments flew by. Wow! This judge is a literal goddess. The judge is outdancing the contestants. Confirmed. Chloe is so beautiful. She needs to debut. I want to see her every day. If that was my wife, I could die happy right now. Someone please investigate if she's married. The internet detectives were astonishingly good. Someone dug up the trending topic from months ago. No way. Isn't that the new CEO of Omni Media? Damn it, no chance. Of course the beauty is with the billionaire. Good taste, sis. Leo Vance is totally my type. Ethan lolled in my office chair, making clicking noises with his tongue. The internet wants you to debut, to go on a dating show, and then a show about your adorable kids. Your public persona has officially shifted from domineering CEO to the man behind the goddess. What's wrong with that? I smirked. I'm just discovering my vanity is stronger than I thought. In the past, I hated when other people stared at Chloe. Even another woman's gaze made me uncomfortable. Not anymore. Now, I wanted the whole world to see her beauty, and this one-of-a-kind jewel was all mine. The show was a huge success, and the team asked if I wanted to capitalize on the momentum by arranging other TV appearances for her. But Chloe refused. She said this show was enough. It was helping young dancers achieve their dreams. Being a celebrity wasn't her goal. She just wanted to dance. Her focus now was on preparing for her solo performance. The day she won the competition, I was more excited than she was. My gift was a ring, one that would bind her to me for life. Our wedding was in Hawaii, romantic, intimate, and unforgettable. 3 years later, Chloe put all her performances on hold. She told me she wanted a baby. For years, we had deliberately avoided the topic. It wasn't that I hadn't thought about it. I knew I would feel a sense of loss if we never had children. Not because of a corporate legacy, but because I was intensely curious to see what a child of ours would look like. They would be beautiful, I was sure. But Lynch syndrome was hereditary. I knew all too well the terror of waiting for bad news. Every 6 months for the past 3 years, Chloe had undergone a full battery of tests, including invasive procedures like colonoscopies and hysteroscopies, so that any cancer could be caught and treated early. The thought of putting another life through that potential agony, I didn't think I could bear it. But Chloe was insistent. People with Lynch syndrome can have children. They just need to use third-generation IVF. After the embryos are created, they undergo comprehensive genetic screening. Only the healthy, unaffected embryos are implanted, breaking the chain of inheritance. I was against it. IVF is incredibly hard on a woman's body. I would rather never have children than put her through that kind of pain. She argued with me repeatedly. This isn't about me having a baby for you, Leo. This is about you helping me. It's what I want. I wouldn't budge. Why do we need a little brat running around anyway? It'll just ruin our life together. You already perform so much. I barely get any time with you. Now I have to share you with someone else? No way. Be mature. It's not someone else. It's our child. I don't care who it is. So you disagree? Fine. I'll have Julian connect me with a sperm bank. I'll pick out a handsome blonde, blue-eyed donor and have a beautiful mixed-race baby. What? In the end, my protests were futile. I had actually called Julian about it. He gave me his professional, elitist opinion. I support Chloe's decision. If she wants a child, now is the perfect age. But IVF is so difficult. It's manageable. It's a very mature technology. Besides, you have to consider that Lynch carries a high risk of endometrial cancer. If, God forbid, she were to lose her uterus, she might lose the chance to have a child forever. So, yes, I support her. Over the years, the thought of her getting sick sent a tremor of fear through me. Fine. If this was what she wanted, we would have a healthy child. After one round of IVF, we had 8 embryos. Following the genetic screening, 2 were perfectly healthy. The transfer was successful. Chloe was pregnant with twins. After 9 months of holding my breath, our babies were born. In that moment, my life felt complete. I thanked God for the car accident that brought her back to me. All I wished for was a long, healthy, and happy life for my wife and children. Epilogue. Chloe's perspective about 2 weeks after the accident. Fragments of memory started flashing in my mind. Sometimes they were still images, sometimes snippets of conversation. They were just pieces, never a clear picture. The man by my side. Everyone said he was my husband, but the way he looked at me was a confusing mix of pity, anger, and bewilderment. He appeared in my memory fragments, too. Sometimes he was holding me gently, other times he was screaming at me. I was confused, but I didn't dare ask him about it. I had a gut feeling that he was incredibly important to me. To help my memory, the nurses would bring me magazines and an iPad. One day, I stumbled upon a news article and saw my husband. But he had a fiancée? How could that be? When he brought me home, he wouldn't sleep with me. At the hospital, he had been so tender, so attentive. The nurses and other patients all said I was lucky to have such a loving husband. The memory fragments grew more frequent. I knew with absolute certainty that I was in love with him. If he wouldn't come to me, I would go to him. I succeeded in getting into his bed. I was so happy, but he was so proper, so restrained. Why? Didn't he like me anymore? Or did he prefer the woman from the magazines? I wanted to shake him awake and demand answers. I didn't sleep a wink that night. He, on the other hand, slept like a baby. Maybe I just wasn't attractive to him anymore. The next day, he took me shopping. It was wonderful. Until we ran into that awful woman. She seemed to know him well and was so rude. Back at home, I couldn't help myself. I kissed him. I could feel that he was aroused, that he wanted me, but he still pushed me away. Useless. I was determined to make him face me. I did it. I was so proud of myself. I kissed him until he had no choice but to respond. He even threatened me, telling me not to regret it. Ha! As if I would ever regret it. Physical intimacy brought us closer emotionally. I could feel him taking 3 steps forward, then 2 steps back, but we were moving in the right direction. But then, our photo ended up all over the internet. Now everyone could see us, and the truth about our relationship was bound to come out. That day he was terrifying, demanding to know where I had been. The truth was, I had just been sitting on a bench downstairs, thinking the fragments were coming together, but I still couldn't piece together the whole story. But I knew one thing for sure. He cared about me. I never expected him to tell me the truth so bluntly. We weren't married. We had been broken up for 2 years. It hurt, even though I'd suspected it. Hearing him say the words was devastating. Because of this, we started sleeping in separate rooms. He took me to his office, and I was thrilled. I wanted to see what he was like at work. He had to be so handsome. But while he was in a meeting, his friend came to talk to me. Oh God, what had I done? He told me I had cheated on Leo, that I had found another man, that Leo had been destroyed when I left, drinking himself into a stupor every night. He said I shouldn't have come back, that I would only bring him more pain. Listening to him, my resolve wavered. Even though I had no memory of another man, if I had really been that cruel, I had no right to his kindness now. I told Leo the first was leaving. He got so angry. He demanded to know what the last month had meant. What did it mean? For the past month, I had thought of him as my husband. Even when I knew it wasn't true, I had wanted to steal him back, to claim him as my own. Sleeping apart was awful. I couldn't sleep at all. When I was lying awake, I would try to force myself to remember. Sometimes, a new piece would surface. Other times, nothing. Anna called, reminding me about a competition. I remembered it vaguely, but it suddenly felt unimportant. Who cares about a competition when I was about to lose my husband? But then, that night, Leo branded me. He asked me to marry him. I was so happy I could have exploded, but I tried to play it cool, to only celebrate in secret. I never expected Julian to find me. The moment he spoke to me, I remembered him. When he and Leo started fighting, I was frantic. But at the same time, the floodgates of my memory broke open. The past came rushing back. I remembered breaking up with Leo. I remembered my aunt, wasting away from her illness. How hard I tried to save her. I remembered my own diagnosis. I was going to get cancer. I could die young. I might never be able to have healthy children. What would that do to Leo? I realized all this happiness was stolen, and I didn't deserve it. I broke down. I never should have come back into his life. I shouldn't have. When I woke up, Julian was by my side. He told me that hiding the truth was its own form of selfishness, that I should let Leo make his own choice. Leo knew. He knew the secret I had guarded so fiercely. If he accepted me, I would feel like a burden. If he left me, I wouldn't be able to bear it. That's why I had chosen to leave first, 2 years ago. I was the selfish one, the coward. He squeezed onto the narrow hospital bed and held me. He told me to spend the rest of my life making it up to him, that he was going to punish me. I cried until I had no tears left. To be able to stay by his side forever. It was my life's greatest wish. We were going to be happy. I would work so hard to make him happy. Even though we couldn't prevent the disease, we could find it early, treat it early. Julian said I still had a chance at a normal lifespan. Please, God, let that be true. Our days settled into a sweet, peaceful rhythm. And I got greedy. I wanted a child. I knew Leo wanted one too, but he was worried about me. Honestly, the physical pain of IVF was nothing. This wasn't for him. It was for me. I desperately wanted a child who looked just like him, preferably a boy. I could watch a miniature Leo grow up, like my own personal project. I never imagined fate would be so kind to me. It gave me a little Leo and a little Chloe. The day I gave birth, Leo cried. He could be so silly sometimes. Later, I asked him, what should we name the babies? He smiled. For our daughter, Amara Faye. For our son, Leo Vance Jr. The names were perfect. A love I will never regret, and a lifetime of happiness to come.